After shooting hundreds of thousands of photos, it can start to feel like just pressing a button, but photography has to be more than that. Photography at its core is the art of seeing differently, capturing emotions and shaping moments. To that end, the Fuji X-T5 has pushed my craft forward, breaking creative barriers and fueling my growth. So this isn't just a review, it's a story about evolution, the tools that shape my craft and the passion that drives me. When I moved away from the Sony 7 III and the Sony 6400 for my personal photography projects, it wasn't about chasing better specs. I wanted something that made the experience feel more personal, something that connected me to the process in a deeper way. And that's what led me to Fuji. In the beginning, I was skeptical. I started with the X-T3 and then I moved to the X-T5. Sony cameras on paper are superior, but Fuji cameras offer something different. For me, it wasn't just a tool. It felt like a shift in mindset, like shooting with an old friend rather than a highly skilled colleague. Every step towards mastery required the right tools, those that make us feel comfortable. The Fuji X-T5 is leaner, more refined, built for those of us that don't want to roam the streets with a bulky, heavy kit that would slow us down, both physically and creatively. It's nearly the same size as the Fuji X-T3, but way more powerful. It's actually lighter than the Fuji X-T4, but it packs more specs. The grip feels like it's made for those of us that carry our gear like they're an extension of ourselves. Switching from the Sony 7 III to the Fuji X-T5, the first thing that I actually noticed was endurance. And of course I'm talking about my endurance. With the A7 III and a heavier lens like the Sony D5mm f1.8, long photo walks would leave my arms sore and the weight would slow me down. But with the X-T5 everything feels lighter, more fluid and more intuitive, especially when it's paired with some of the smaller compact prime lenses. It keeps me in the moment, not worrying about fatigue. Yet, despite its compact design, the X-T5 isn't limited to a lightweight setup. If you need more reach, you can go big, pairing it with longer, bulkier lenses like the Viltrox 75mm for example, providing the versatility that you're actually expecting from an interchangeable lens camera. If you're enjoying the video so far, hit the like button and consider subscribing with the bell. Now let's see how the ergonomics and the build of the X-T5 have actually changed the way I shoot. Every element of the Fuji X-T5's design feels intentional, crafted with the photographer's experience in mind. The fully articulating screen of the Fuji X-T4 is now gone and it is replaced by a tilting screen that prioritizes function over flair. It is for those of us that stay behind the lens, immersed in the moment, shooting from every angle. And then there is the right hand side wheel, which I like a lot because it has one small but very important change. Now with a simple flick I can switch between photo and video modes, eliminating unnecessary steps and helping me to keep my focus where it belongs, on the shot. Whether this is for photography or video, it is these subtle refinements that make all the difference when I want to move fast and work intuitively. The Fuji X-T5 is a tool that bends to your creative flow and not the other way around. It has the ability to save separate settings for both photo and videos, making my life so much easier when I'm out in the field, try to take photos and create content for my videos. The ISO wheel now has an added function giving complete control through the front wheel. If you combine this with the T mode of the shutter speed, manual shooting becomes very easy. Another subtle change that makes a big impact is the top right button that let me switch between film recipes very quickly on the go. I don't need to dig through menus or break my rhythm. With a quick press of a button, my entire style changes completely. The X-T5 steps up with its 40 megapixel sensor, a serious upgrade from the X-T3's 26 megapixels, giving me more freedom to create. More resolution means more flexibility. It gives you the ability to crop in without sacrificing any detail. It allows you to print large with images that hold up under scrutiny. But every upgrade has its trade-offs. More megapixels often means more noise, especially in low light. So this is a drawback that the camera has that anyone considering must keep in mind. Despite this, when I found myself shooting in low light conditions, the new denoise filter in Lightroom has proven effective in clearing out the noise, resulting in sharper images. Another drawback that comes with the 40 megapixel sensor is the very large raw files, meaning you need to plan for file storage and for photo and video editing, possibly needing to upgrade your computer specs at the same time. At first, I wasn't blown away by the X-T5's autofocus. Coming from the autofocus and tracking system of the Sony 7 III, the X-T5 had a lot to prove. In low light, Sony 7 III felt many steps ahead. But sometime after I got the X-T5, Fuji dropped a firmware update that improved autofocus a bit. Tracking became a bit sharper. Shooting through glass or capturing movement at night felt more reliable. But is it flawless? No. But it is fast, it is responsive, and for dynamic street photography, it is more than enough, in my opinion. The X-T5 brings endurance to the table, powering through an entire day of shooting without a second thought, something that the Fuji X-T3 couldn't quite manage. And when it comes to stabilization, of course, the difference is clear. Due to its optical image stabilization, handheld shots are now sharper, clearer, and more dependable, even when you push the shutter speed beyond its usual limits. It is the kind of meaningful upgrade that allows you to do more. And then there is the multi-exposure mode, which is no longer confined to just 2 exposures the same way as the Fuji X-T3. Now with multi-exposure mode, the possibilities stretch further, allowing for layered storytelling, bold experimentation, and limitless creative expression. It has allowed me to experiment with my multi-exposure traffic light concept, which I have enjoyed thoroughly. The menu system, compared to both the Sony 7 III and the Fuji X-T3, is faster and more intuitive. Unlike the endless scrolling on the older Sony menu systems like the one the Sony 7 III has, Fuji keeps things simple, direct, and intuitive. That means more shooting and less searching. No camera is without its flaws, and the X-T5 is no exception. There are 2 aspects that draw my attention, 2 small things that remind me that even the greatest and the more enjoyable tools have their own limitations. First, it's the rolling shutter. It's there, like in most mirrorless cameras. It is manageable, but it can limit you in certain cases. And then there is the exposure preview. In my experience, it doesn't always match the final shot. Maybe it's just the way that Fuji processes recipes, but it does throw me off at times. If anyone has a workaround, let me know. The Fuji X-T5 isn't for everyone, but if you're watching this video, and you're watching this video for so far, it might be for you. So who is the camera for? If you're a street photographer who moves fast, adapts, and wants control over every photo, especially with these nice dials of the Fuji X-T5, then it might be a good fit. If you are a creator balancing both stills and videos, this hybrid workflow might make sense. Also, if you value nice specs and a great retro look of the Fuji X-T5, again, this camera might be for you. But if landscapes, astrophotography, or sports photography is your thing, then there are other options out there. The X-T5, in my opinion, is built for a specific type of creator, one that values the craft, it values the feel, it values the experience of photography, especially the photography that it's made out in the streets. Now, I would like to know, are you a Fuji shooter? Did you switch from another system? If yes, why? If no, are you considering switching to Fuji? Let me know. If you are curious to see why I left Sony, click and watch this video next. That was all for today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, I will see you on the streets. Bye bye.